Today's video is all about the new Summit feature released from Wahoo for their Element range of cycling GPS computers. I go into all the details about what it is, how it works, and then we take it out on the road for my 5-climb route, which today was only 4 climbs because I wanted to see how it operated when rerouting on a set path. Now today's feature is primarily focused on the BOLT2 and the ROAM with the colored screens, but I'll cover the feature that relates to all units first off, and that is you are now shown the remaining elevation to go on the cue sheet. As you see here, that can be in feet or meters going through a route, so you know how much up there is to go. Now that's the feature that relates to all units. Those now aside, let's get into the fun stuff, the colored grade elevation profile, as shown right here on the screen. Wahoo state here, they color the existing elevation chart in 10-meter segments available on the ROAM and the BOLT2, devices with color screens, and you do need to have a route loaded so it knows where you're heading. The color elevation chart also relates to Strava live segments, which is a feature that I switch off pretty quickly because it just annoys me, to be honest. The elevation colors are broken down as per this chart and I believe can be customized in the companion app. However, defaults were pretty good out on the road today. Speaking of out on the road today, here we are. And again, a lot going on the screen here. So just a quick overview of what you're seeing. Top left-hand corner there, you're seeing the recorded grade and the recorded elevation with 4 climbs, not 5. Bottom left-hand side, just some information there from the power meter and the GPS itself, just for interest's sake. Over there on the right, that's where the fun starts. We have the Element Bolt version 2, and as clear as day, you can see the colors there on the screen. So one thing I will point out is the grade field also now has color on the Bolt 2 and the ROAM. It being green, because I'm on a green section at the moment, that will change in a little bit. Left-hand side is the Varia radar, telling me there's a car, and there it goes. That remains green where there's no cars, and it is clear back. So quite a lot going on screen. Now I'm not going to explain the zoom levels as I press the button throughout this ride, but I believe the zoom levels are 200 meters, 2 kilometers, 20 kilometers, remaining and all. Maybe something for another video to dive into because they can be quite confusing, but I will be zooming here and there on this ride. Okay, now one thing I do want to check out on this particular climb for a start is the descent sections of this climb and how the meters of climbing to go handles itself. We saw on the Hammerhead unit, the elevation to go would climb up and climb down and climb up, or vice versa. Let's see how this handles itself by scooting up the road and having a look at the cue sheet with the elevation to go value. Okay, onto the second small descent section of this climb. It appears that Wahoo do have this correct with the climbing meters to go, not climbing back up once you do a small descent in an overall climb. So 350 meters to go locked in and looking good before we push to the last small section of this climb and up over the top. Now, if you're wondering where the grade field data comes from, I believe the grade field comes from the measured gradient, and the data shown on the gradient of the elevation profile comes from the mapping on the unit, because as you can see just here, there's a small discrepancy. They're not 1 for 1, which is okay. They're very, very close, but I think that's the case. So the elevation profile upcoming comes from the mapping data on the unit. Obviously, that needs to look ahead with the predefined route. And the real-time grade shown in the grade field there comes from what's measured on the unit there in real time out on the road. I'll quickly skim through climbs 2, 3, and 4, which did take half an hour. Now we'll get this done in 90 seconds. And in speeding this up, you can see the elevation profile move quite quickly through there. And we'll get to the climb number 5, which I did miss, and we'll see how the rerouting works. Okay, as we roll past James, who is out for 100Ks just there, coming up is the left-hand turn, which was on my route that I'd predefined, so Alkira Road, and I'm not going to take that route. Let's see how this reacts for a reroute on the head unit. 79 meters, 66.53, and see you later. We're going straight on, which is, of course, the easy way. Now, the reroute has taken place. So 1.6 k's up the road, turn left, but the elevation profile remains static to where that turn was. So the elevation profile hasn't updated for the reroute. Now, this is the same behavior as before. Nothing's changed here. It's just got some colors of the climb that we are going to miss. I'll jump over to the actual mapping page there. That is correct. That is the reroute to get us on board. Okay, now we'll quickly jump ahead to get us back on track to see what happens to the elevation profile when we're back on route. Approaching the next roundabout, we are going to intersect with the original route, which does turn right. So in theory, it should be telling me to turn on the third exit, but it's telling me the first exit onto Norman Street, which is left. I guess it's trying to take me back to complete that climb that I missed out, which is still on the elevation profile, but I will be heading right, which is third exit. And disregarding what's on screen, so it still hasn't updated the profile. And as soon as, bang, there we go. Okay, so I'm back on the route, or the predefined route, and it will continue on as if I have done those climbs. Obviously not with that recorded overall elevation gain, but that's how it works for reroutes or reroutes on the fly. Two more things to cover before wrapping this one up for today. Now, this does require you to use a predefined route. A predefined route can be synced from a TCX file, I believe, a Strava route or Komoot, etc. Or you could use the take me to on the unit itself and scroll across, just as an example here of generating a route or route on the fly from the head unit. We'll select somewhere way out east of home. Let's go to Bland Dalesford Road. We'll select that. That's a starting point. And if we zoom out on the elevation profile, we'll get the full colored elevation profile of the upcoming route that was generated on the head unit itself. And lastly, if you're in freeride mode, where the elevation profile shows the history, there's no colorization to that. It just shows a black elevation profile of where you've been. As you can see here on the screen, after I'd stopped the route and gone back to freeride mode to finish off this ride today. So there it is, the details, the ins and outs, and some hands-on with the Bolt 2 with that new Summit feature from Wahoo. Now you're probably wondering, didn't the game change last week with climbing information on screen and on the handlebars with what Hammerhead have done? Yes, it did. It did big time. And that is something that I put to Wahoo saying, hey, is this all we've got? Can we expect something more coming up? And the answer was a very quick, on the reply to email, yes, absolutely, there's something coming up. So this isn't the last we'll see for updates in regard to climbing and climbing information to keep Wahoo competing with Garmin and Hammerhead in this area. So stay tuned. I'm keen to see what they have up their sleeve. Alrighty, thanks for watching this one, and we'll see you soon.